What's going on, fellas? It's your man, Coach Bardo, coming back to you. I wanted to give a longer video to kind of explain some things. This is the 12 non-negotiables, how to choose your perfect country. So I have been a college basketball and NBA analyst for years, over 20 years, 25 years. And so the same way that I used to scout and look for different things to share with viewers on television when I'm calling games, I scout countries the same way. There's a certain criteria that I use that I'll share with you here today that will allow you to make the most informed decision. Because a lot of times, guys, when you're leaving the United States, it's an emotional thing. It can be very emotional, especially if you're not single, especially if you're doing this with a family. This is very emotional. So you want to take as much of the emotion out of the equation as possible. How do you do that? By using a scouting report, using numbers, because numbers don't lie. Okay. But first, let's go over the 12 non negotiables that I think are the most important before we get to the scouting reports that we're talking about. Okay. So, why does criteria matter? Because, when I was started watching a lot of the black travelers and that were overseas and living. Portugal was really hot around COVID. Right before and during COVID, Portugal was really hot, right? There's a lot of hype around that. As of the last 2 or 3 years, what's been the hottest country? Thailand, right? Everybody's talking about Thailand. My boy Michael, who's in our group here in Playa del Carmen, he keeps his base here in Playa del Carmen, Mexico, but he's over in Thailand for the second time in the last 6 or 7 months. He really, really likes it over there. I don't know if he likes it enough to relocate totally, but he likes it. He likes it a lot. And so he's over there, and that's the Instagram thing. That's what everybody looks at. It's trendy. Bali, Thailand, all that stuff is trendy. Or for a lot of brothers, we want to go back to Africa. Now, I'll share something with you guys. And my parents are doing very well health wise. But once they make their transition, I'm in Africa. I'd want to be there right now, but I'm a little afraid of my parents being in their mid to starting to get up into the upper 80s. I don't want to be in a place where I have to travel more than a day to get back. Mexico is the perfect location for me at this point in my life. But again, like I said, Tanzania, Kenya, Ghana, uh, yeah, South Africa, some of those countries I'm definitely going to look at in terms of moving forward. So that's why criteria is so important, guys, because you get caught up in the hype, the emotion, the trend, and you get there in 6 months, you're miserable because you didn't get the criteria that was specific for you. So here are 12 criteria that can help you formulate whether, yes, I can use this, or no, this, I can create something else that's a little bit more important to me, okay? It's your criteria, all right? I'm just sharing with you some of mine and some of the ones that I've researched from Black travelers, all right? So the first one, this was a must for me, guys, and the first six are going to be my personal ones. This was a must. I've been in Chicago the last 27 years. We don't get enough vitamin D in Chicago. In the majority of the United States, Black people don't get enough vitamin D. So wherever I was going, whether it was Mexico or Africa or Asia, wherever it was going, I'm going to be in some heat. I like it hot. I like the sun to be shining. I need that vitamin D on my skin to make me feel good. And most Black people do as well. We just don't know it because we've been led to believe that in the United States, like, oh, when it's hot, you got to run in and get AC. You don't, like, here in Mexico, because I'm in such a high tourist area, there are air conditioners everywhere, right? But I remember being in Africa, and I was in Senegal, and it was 115. Those people didn't have AC, right? I was in Ghana. Cape Coast wasn't hot because it's right along the coast. It's beautiful. But Accra got a little warm. Accra's right on the ocean, but it's a much bigger city. And if you get away from the ocean, it can get hot there. I didn't see a ton of ACs there, right? They exist, they're there, but I think we got hoodwinked a little bit on thinking that, oh, it's so hot. Really? Our body temperature is 98.6, I believe, right? So if it's in the 90s, why does that feel hot? Something to think about, right? So for my own personal health, I needed the vitamin D. So climate and hot weather was a must for me. Number two, cost of living. Guys, we're in our 50s. I'm in my 50s. Some of us are in our 60s, 70s. As we get older and we're trying to make whatever money that we have stretch, or we have an ongoing business concern, or whatever, I need that money to stretch as far as it can go, right? And so it's really hard. You got to have a lot of money to retire the way that you really want to retire in the United States. It costs a lot of money. So for me, I'm looking at places that my US dollars, my investments can really stretch. So, like, for example, here in Quintana Roo, which is the name of the state that Playa del Carmen is in, this is one of the most expensive areas in Latin America, if not the most expensive area in Latin America, not Mexico, Latin America. And it's still 67% cheaper than Chicago, right? They say take out rent, but I could find a one bedroom here in Playa del Carmen that's very nice for under $1,000 a month. Where are you going to find a one bedroom in Chicago for under $1,000 that's not in a hovel or the hood, or you're living in maybe in an assisted living place? You can't find a one bedroom or a studio apartment in Chicago in a decent neighborhood for $100,000. You just can't do it. So I was looking at cost of living to make my money stretch and go further as I get older. So I don't have as much pressure to work, to continue to work, to make money, just to try to live. Once you get on the other side, guys, you start to understand what I mean by that. Number three, food quality. Like I'm a healthy dude, right? I like to live healthy. I have unhealthy habits, some would consider unhealthy. So I really try to go overboard on being healthy. And one of those things is food. It's so difficult, guys, as you know, to get healthy food back in the United States. I see this all the time where, for example, I went to El Fogon. El Fogon is a very popular Mexican restaurant here in Playa del Carmen. I left my Spanish class. That's at El Fogon, one of the better ones right down the street. So I go to eat there and I get this skirt steak fajitas, and they give me a ton of food. And I'm trying to eat, so I don't have to take as much back with me. But I noticed that even when I go hard, I go ham on my food, I don't feel bloated, right? I remember last time I went home and I knew that I had gained weight because I was drinking beer like crazy. I was at the beach eating ceviche. I was just going ham before the last time I went home. So when I got on the scale, I was 5 pounds lighter than what I was before I left. And I'm telling you guys, I drink beer like a fish. I mean, I can knock down, it's not something to be proud of, but it's just a fact. I can drink beer with the best of them. And usually that puts weight on a lot of people. But here, it doesn't happen. So the food quality here, there's a fruteria on every corner that sells fresh fruit. I'm talking, they just got the fruit from the field yesterday, guys. The chickens, you can go down the street to somebody that sells chickens. It's fresh. They just killed the joint. I'm telling you, they just plucked it and cleaned it and all that. It's fresh. It's not pumped full of preservatives. The food in the United States is designed to give us inflammation. That's what feeds the medical community. If we're eating healthy, then the for-profit medical community in the United States vanishes. That's why they don't have for-profit medical systems here in Mexico, because they're trying to take care of their people. The doctors here can make a good living, but they're not getting like exorbitantly rich because they've taken an oath to service their people. So the food quality was paramount for me. I was not going anywhere that didn't have good quality food. Visa and residency clarity. Okay, so there are people who have to save money, that have to do things by themselves. For me, I'm not a paperwork guy. I don't enjoy doing paperwork. I don't enjoy the tedious nature of that. I pay for those services. And the good thing about Mexico and pretty much anywhere in the world, and include the United States, they try to tell us that there's not a price for everything, that you got to do this, that's bullshit. There's a cost for everything. You can get something done for anything that you want if the price is right. That is especially correct here in Mexico. So I paid the fee to get my paperwork done. I'm waiting to hear from another attorney on when I can get my appointment to go in to get my 4-year temporary residency. I paid for it. You can start the process in the United States at your local consulate, whatever country that you're seeking. You can probably start for Mexico. Let me say that. I'm not going to say it for any other country. For Mexico, the process can start in the United States with a local consulate if you'd like. But you can also travel here on your scouting trip. And if this is where you want to be, there are services that you can pay for that will start the residency process while you're on the ground here, that when you go back to the States, you can have the information in your hand and you wait to the next step to go get your appointment. So I wanted a place where visa and residency clarity was clear, something that I could pay for. Mexico definitely fits that bill. The dating and social scene, guys, because, I'm single. So, I'm ready to mingle, right? I wanted to go to a place where there were African women, where there were Black women of different origins and backgrounds. Mexico, they lied so much to us about this country. Mexico has its fair share of women of color, and there are Black women here, not necessarily in Playa del Carmen, a ton of them, but there are Black. There's sisters here. There's Black American women here. I've seen Belizean people here, Black, and they look just like us. So maybe I'm confusing some of them with us. But women from Belize, the neighboring country to the south of Mexico, they're Black Colombian, Black Cubano. There are Black women here, right? And that was something that was very important to me, that I wanted to be around people. I want to be around enough women of color to choose from. Okay. Number 6, a Black expat community. If where you're going has a thriving Black expat community, they've done all the work for you. It's your job to get into the community, to create relationships with people, and to ask questions. If you go to places that there is not a large Black expat community, there's a reason for that. It might not, the cost of living might be higher. The treatment of Black people may not be as good as we would prefer. So be careful about going to places that if you're Black man, and I'm talking to Black men, be careful of going to places that don't have they don't necessarily have to have a large Black expat community, but there needs to be a presence there, because if there's not, there's a reason for that. Because we've been all over the world. Black people have traveled all over the world. And if you find that there's a country where there's not, if you can't go on Facebook and find a group in that country of Black people, then there's a reason for that. So pay attention to that. Number 7 is stability and safety. This is key, guys. I don't need to tell you guys. Like, you see the police here, they'll wave to you. They'll speak, they're friendly. Now, they got to do their job. They might stop you and search you like they do everyone else, because they really crack down in Quintana Roo, because tourism is a big part of this economy. And so they want to make people feel safe, and they check people on the street to see if you got illegal drugs, if you got your paperwork. It's normal. It's not like they're harassing people. They're trying to keep the tourists that are coming to this area feel safe because of the police presence. And 2, they want to make the local people feel safe, because, Some of these tourists down here that aren't our color, they act a damn fool, straight up. Number 8 is kind of the racial dynamic, same thing. Look for a strong black expat community, because if you find that, that's a strong indication of how we're treated racially, or how we're viewed racially. And guys, I'm not naive. I get it. In places like Quintana Roo here in Mexico, and places like Thailand, Bali, Philippines, people are friendly because they see you as a dollar sign, right? But they're not a group of Thai people sitting around plotting on your demise. There's not a group of people in Bali that are like, okay, we're gonna F these brothers up. You know, I haven't researched or heard anything like that. So keep that in mind. This was a big one. I didn't include this in my original 6, but this is a huge one because guys are getting older. We're going to need quality healthcare and access. Okay. Mexico has wonderful healthcare. The private insurance, I believe, costs $80 to $100 a month. And sometimes the doctors will make house calls. You heard that correctly. If you've got private health insurance here in Mexico, which costs around $80 to $100, if you're really sick, the doctor will come to your house and spend as much time with you as possible. And 90 to 95% of the physicians here in Mexico, especially in Quintana Roo, speak English, speak really good English. And a lot of them have been trained in the United States or Cuba or places that are known to really train physicians in a really high standard, okay? So that's key. This is key for me. I explained it to you earlier. I needed proximity to the United States based on my parents being a little bit older, not a little bit, being in their mid to starting out to upper 80s. I wanted proximity to them. You may have family members like me. You may have nieces and nephews, cousins, people who are even younger than you that you don't want to get too far from. Hey, it's your scouting report. It doesn't matter what I think or what anyone else thinks, okay? So proximity to family. Business and work opportunities. Now, coming to Mexico, I don't advise brothers to look for job opportunities here because, Kareem told me this stat. I think the average Mexican family, I believe they make $500 to $600 a month. I believe that's the average. That's the median salary. I think. And so the cost of living is really low, and so the salaries are low. And so I'm not sure that Black men need to be coming over here looking for a job. I think the better situation is that you create something that you can do remotely. You can do your current situation remotely. You create something online that you can totally control. You may want to open up a business here. I don't necessarily suggest that to Black American men. There's a brother that's in our group named Kobe from Aruba. Now, his family has restaurants around the Caribbean, so he's very well versed at understanding the nuances and dealing with the cartels, because you have to deal with the cartels. Any kind of business you do here in Mexico, you don't see the cartels, but you got to deal with them, okay? That's not something that Black American men, we're not well versed in, and I'm not sure that that's something you want to get into. So you either have, you take your current work situation and make it remote. You create something online like I do. I create different franchises that, that I'm trying to, I'm building up now, that I'm taking this year off from college basketball commentating. I want to grow and make this be, what generates income for me. But I also have good amount of investments, savings, things of that nature, that will fund my lifestyle moving forward. The last but not least is the cultural lifestyle fit. So guys, you can have your own criteria and you take a trip somewhere and something about that place just resonates with you. You just feel good, right? You might want to make that choice. If it, like for me, I like the beach. I love the water and love the beach. I don't need to go every day. My sister Carrie D, she's at that joint every day. She can't wait to get off work to run to the beach to get a few hours of sunlight, right? So if that's important to you, and you go to a place that you're considering, and you get there, and something about the place just resonates with you. You just feel a certain way. It's like, wow, this is it, right? That's your cultural lifestyle fit. Okay. So you guys want to create your own scouting report? Here's how to do it. 1, non-negotiables. Make a list of your non-negotiables. 2, list your most important factors, right? 3, list your nice to haves. You don't have to have, but nice to have. Weigh your criteria, meaning give a score to each area, right? And then score your countries. If you want more help with this, first off, go to my link, get your own global scouting report. It's 8 questions, takes 2 minutes, and you will get a relocation report based on your readiness to leave, okay? And also, you can book me for a consultation call. If you really want to develop your own criteria, I can help you get way more specific. We can walk through that in one of my coaching calls. The link is also in my bio, okay? All right. I hope this really helps you guys. If you haven't done so, get your global scouting report. The link is right there on the ticker. Stephen, you see it. Copy and paste that. It will take you to the global scouting report. Get yours before you schedule a call, because once you do that, you've got your relocation readiness report. You have your criteria. Once you make the call with me, we can really get strategic on what you're really looking for. Okay, guys, I know this was a long one, but I wanted to get this information out to you because I want to be a resource for you, finding the place that best suits you. Okay, love you guys, and until next time, holla, y'all.